All right, today I'm here talking with Tricia about the state of the union in tricking and the dark side of tricking and all of the things that come up within the sport of tricking. Because it's, of course, an athletic pursuit, it's a movement, but it's also a community. And with communities comes touchier, harder subjects. Now, I
Yup.
think I first met you at, I think it was a Euphoria gathering. I think it was the first or the second Euphoria gathering was when I first met you.
hmm
So we've known you.
I think so. Was it like at Evolve All?
Yeah.
Was it that?
No, that
Yeah,
was
I remember.
it feels like so long ago.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But kind of the first thing I want to talk to you about, there are so many girls just killing it right now in the tricking community.
Oh yeah, it's amazing how much it's grown recently.
Like I was talking to Ruth, and when I first started doing tutorials on mastering tricking, we had a far smaller audience, and we've always been able to look at the analytics of who is a part of that audience. And we started with 3% female viewership, just 97%
Yeah.
just dudes. But now we are at a
Yeah.
13%.
That's
It's a
awesome.
huge change, and I've seen a lot more women just coming up in the community. It's so funny, when I started selling the book, it was more female trickers that was buying it, just because I think it seemed to be a way that they could consume the information a little bit easier, or just however they wanted. So it's really cool.
Yeah. It is really cool. Yeah, on the same subject, like our tricking classes, the adult class, we didn't like make it a women's only class or like have a certain thing for that, but like the classes recently have been like female dominated. So I'm like, oh, that's cool.
Lost you completely. I didn't hear a word you just said. Ah,
Oh,
eh.
oh, no worries. I was just saying that like for our tricking classes, like our recent adult classes, we didn't like advertise women's only classes or anything like that, but the recent ones have been female dominated, and it's so cool. Like a few of them have been like all females, and I'm like, what are we doing different? Like this is kind of cool.
I really think that there is a big market out there for women in tricking. And I think if we can make the sport a little bit more approachable to people of all types, it would make it a lot easier and go a really long way. Like, have you noticed that there's like anything that has kind of brought these women to the gym? Is it just they're looking to build like tricks themselves, or
I have no idea. Cause like I've been trying to figure it out too. Like back in the day, whenever a girl comes into the gym, I'd get so excited, and maybe I'm like overbearing because I'm like trying to give them all the positive response to like get them to stay. But then that never worked. But I think maybe like just not special treatment and just being generally welcoming has been helping a lot, and like helping them realize that you can do this stuff too. It's possible for you to do this stuff too, and like just being encouraging in general.
yeah, I think just treating everybody the same goes a really long way. I had a weird
Yeah,
like mental moment
definitely.
earlier. I was watching the junior battles from OMG, and
hmm
Neve, the young girl there, absolutely killed it. She absolutely destroyed the battles.
Yeah, that's
But at
awesome.
one point, to prep for a pass, she took her shirt off, and none of the other juniors had
hmm
taken their shirt off. And I was like, I had this weird moment of, the juniors should be clothed. This is weird. But at the same time, I looked at it and I was like, I've seen young guys do that before. It's just tricking has always been a sport where you put your body at the forefront, because that's the only tool that we get. It's not like we have a skateboard, but it does kind of come
hmm
with the weirdness of your body is at the forefront. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I just had a weird kind of moment with it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely something. Well, just like yeah, like if a girl does something that guys do all the time, it's just like, wait, is that weird?
And I was like,
But
taking your shirt off at a gathering is always kind of weird. And it always kind of like, I started going
Mhm.
to gatherings when they were way less developed. And you too, I'm sure, have seen dumb midnight activities of someone doing a trick in their underwear, and unfortunate things happen. But with more children and more kids attending these events, what I viewed as kind of normal back then is just not something we can kind of be doing in the gym now without serious consequences to the community.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, I was just remembering my first ever gathering, and it was before I started tricking, and we were in the garage, and things came down onto other people's heads.
No, these things happen. These things happen. That's the reality of a sport and of what we do. It is our bodies on the forefront, and it's like we are a culture and a community. Like one of my favorite samplers is Bear by Jack Farmer Brown, but I'm not sharing it around too often.
Yeah, that's a good one. Freedom's nice.
Euphoria has grown like crazy. It's been amazing for me to see like you guys have had so many more girls on the special guest list. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
It makes such a big difference to have girls like on the special guest list.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's cool to like be able to see and like have girls that we want on the guest list. Like before there was just like barely anyone, or like, oh, let's just get trickers on. Like I don't know who else is out there. So it's cool to be able to have girls now.
Because there's just more people to include. Yeah.
Definitely. Most definitely.
So do you want to get into the article and kind of the more fun stuff?
Sure, yeah, let's do it.
So I think the article was really well written and kind of started out with just really powerful imagery. Those screenshots like made me feel something. I was like, oh, I've been there. It's weird.
Yeah.
Even kind of began to describe it. It is sexual harassment at its core. And it's hard to hold people accountable for these things, especially when it's not like something you can litigate over. You may not have the tools to even pursue that sort of thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Putting it out there and saying that this is something that multiple people experience. You're not alone. To any of the people that have gone through that, I think that just goes a huge way in just helping everybody feel better about the sport, because that's kind of what I want. I definitely want everybody to be able to walk into a gathering and feel comfortable.
Yeah, that was all I wanted. Back in the day. Yeah, back then it was like any girl that came into tricking, there was certain character group of people that would like instantly call them like tricker girl sluts, so it was already unwelcoming for girls, like no matter
that
what.
Verbiage is just
so
not
it's cool.
Nice in any way.
Yeah,
and I'm sure back I was kind of lucky in that I started in the DMV in the time of Euphoria, in this like bubble almost, where girl tricking was just such a norm for me. It didn't feel like a special thing when a girl was on the floor killing it, because I'd go to the Y and you, Gabby, and like everyone else was just sessioning.
Yeah, we were definitely spoiled in our area. But like yeah, that's what made us realize that there was something up when we went to other places. It's like we'd get that special treatment all the time. We're like, what the heck? Just leave us alone. Just let us train. Like that. Yeah, so that helped a lot, being able to grow up with people that made you feel equal and whatever.
Well, it was just, I realized it more and more as I started traveling for tricking, how in my area there were a lot more girl trickers than in like other Midwestern areas, or like more like just, it was really spoiled in my area. Thank you, because you were a big part of that. You, Gabby, all you guys.
Yeah. Good place.
Yeah. What do you think has been kind of your tools for dealing with the unwanted attention that you get at gatherings? Because it's something that a lot of
Um,
people just deal with.
yeah, back in the day, I would just try to hide all the time. Like I'm a very non-confrontational person and I hated attention, so I did whatever I can to blend in with the rest of the people or stay quiet and hidden or just not bring out too much attention. But then I would fight that all the time because I know that if I let that shy and fearness win, then I won't be able to trick. I won't get on the floor because I'm scared of people looking at me. So it was a fight the whole
No,
time.
that sounds like it. That sounds like it. But it sounds like that's a good tool, just to fight through it.
Mm,
Because there's only
yeah.
so much you can do to control the eyes of other people.
Yup.
Yeah, at one point, I noticed that we were getting a lot of views from a certain playlist on YouTube. So I looked it up, and it was the Hot Men's Feet 2021 playlist with a lot of my ankle conditioning and how to get stronger toes, all of those videos. So it's a little bit of it is unavoidable,
that?
but it's
Yeah.
something that you got to be cognizant. Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I had to do a lot to be seen as equal or just not somebody's dream girl or whatever, or I don't know, just extra attention that I didn't need, didn't want.
And I think there's a big difference between lustful attention and the attention you get from a friend or from a colleague.
Yeah.
When I go to the tricking floor, and I know that this is how almost every tricker feels, we want to be recognized for our tricks or for what we provide to the community and not for our bodies. Though, typically, trickers are very attractive people. It's a lot of work, it's a lot of effort to get all those flips.
Yeah, it is.
But it does come with a lot. It does come with a lot. And I think the dialogue is just super important.
Very important.
Yeah. Have you seen as these girl trickers grow, I haven't seen too many big aggressive things outside of the Facebook community seems to be really, really bad. When I started tricking, the dominant tricking platform was the Facebook tricking page. And these days it's a little bit more scattered. There seems like there's a lot of pockets of communities. And I think if you're able to find a really good pocket with really good people, then that is just, you gotta stick to that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I felt when I first came in, it was a lot of turmoil in the community, but once I found my group, it was a lot more peaceful. Together.
Well, it's if you stick 50 people in a room, there's going to be conflict. And how that conflict is handled can be a little bit hard. And I find the tricking community is doing a good job of handling conflict, but we have our struggles. We have our struggles for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely really impressed with the tricking community after the article came out, because so many people were like, oh, I never thought of it like that, and they started opening their minds to looking within and making changes within themselves. And I definitely expected people to be like, this doesn't happen, and get all defensive about it. And there were a few like that, but the majority were like, this is awesome, and let's do something with ourselves first, and yay. So that was amazing.
That is amazing. I've been really happy with the response that the tricking community has had with the whole article and with everything. And as the tricking community kind of progresses, I don't want it to fall victim to the things that I've seen in the gymnastics community. I'm not sure if you're aware of the Larry Nassar case, but it is a very tragic case in the gymnastics community. You guys can Google it if you want. I'm not going to go into too many details here. But I think the kids need to be protected as we move forward. And watching the junior battles at OMG, those kids were amazing. They did such a great job, and they're the next generation of tricking athletes. We need to do everything we can to make sure that everybody feels safe and feels kind of accepted. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and like having so many students now, and a lot of them are like, you know, young preteen, and then that one girl that came to us and said that like those things were being said to her from 13 to 15 years old. That's like the age of my students, and it's like that's so young to like get that sort of abuse from the community. So it's like we have to protect them.
I'm also kind of tied in with the Ninja Warrior community because that is my parents' business. They run a Ninja Warrior gym in Bel Air, Maryland. And one of their young female athletes who ended up on the junior show got a lot of unwarranted attention. And she is an 11-year-old, and no 11-year-old should deal with messages containing sensitive media.
Yeah, what the hell? It's horrible.
There are bad people out there in the world, and maybe not bad, but misguided, and they are doing bad things. So we need to make sure that people are protected and people are held accountable. Because it's one thing if there's a weird relationship between adults, but the second you stick a kid in there, I gotta
Yeah. Oh man. But I like what you said a lot about just not bad people, but like misguided people, because I feel like that's what my goal was with the article, to like not blame people and call people bad for doing or saying any of these things. I just want them to be aware of how they could affect us, and that they have the power to do better, or like, and I want to be able to give them the space to be able to grow, because I don't want to shame anyone. I feel like that shaming keeps them from that growth, because they're busy like shaming themselves for being a horrible person, a predator, whatever. And you know, I feel like if we skip over that, we'll get to the growth faster, you know?
Like, I think that everybody is human, and often people can look older than they are, and they can look younger than they are, and sometimes you don't know. So it's like, sometimes people will make mistakes, but if the mistake continues, then it becomes a problem. And I think that's where we're trying to be really good as a community about making sure that people feel welcome. Like when I started tricking, and when I was far younger, it was more commonplace to use verbiage like gay as a derogatory term. And these days, that doesn't fly. That's not okay. There shouldn't be a victim in a joke.
Yeah, it's cool to see how much society has grown. I think a big thing with that is definitely all these years, guys have grown up to think that, like, I don't know what I'm trying to say, just like putting girls down is, or like there's a lot of microaggressions that we say that we don't realize are putting girls down, but like it's normal life for us. And a lot of times, especially with like trying to get sex or whatever, there's also the guy just has to get what he wants, and like no one ever thinks about like if the girl's uncomfortable, it's like as long as she says yes, then you win type of thing. But like I feel like a lot of that turns into harassment, and a lot of girls, like, their trauma response is to like freeze or flight or fight, whatever. And like all these years, it's always been on the girl to like how she reacts, but we like never teach the guys how to be sensitive to that and be aware of that, and how to not make a girl uncomfortable, you know?
Well, it's like consent is a very, very important thing, and it goes both ways. Like, someone should feel comfortable about how they're being treated, and if they do not feel comfortable about how they're being treated, they should walk away or speak up. And that's the hardest part, is walking away or
Oh yeah.
speaking up, because you need to do one or the other, or you're kind of stuck. And you don't want to be stuck. No one wants to be stuck. You want to feel like you have control and you can move and do what you need to do. And I think that it goes a long way to making someone feel comfortable if everything is communicated through both parties. You don't have to over communicate things. You don't need to verbally ask permission to hug every single person you're gonna hug. But if they start backing away as you go to hug them, it may be a good time to back away as well and kind of stand your ground. Maybe go for a handshake or a fist bump.
Yep. Definitely.
Yeah. And with sex, it's even more complicated because that's where people don't vocalize things nearly as frequently. And it's important. Everybody should know before they're getting kissed that they're going to get kissed. But no one wants to hear, I am about to kiss you right now, right before they get kissed. So there is like a middle ground and a way to do things properly. And I think that as long as the discussion is there, then we're pushing it forward. And I think the culture, not just tricking, but as a world, is getting far better about holding people accountable. And these things do a lot for that. If anybody at a gathering is making you feel weird, please get a video of it so that we can hold them very accountable. Now, you don't have to like shove it in their face, but you do have something that can record things. And it is a tool that can keep you very safe and hold others accountable if you use it properly. Yeah, that's my little note to the world.
Maybe we can like make an app, a safety app for like at gatherings to record if you feel safe, like one button click.
I think they have that where it'll show a black screen, but you can just hit like the buttons right here and it will record. But it's like one thing I really appreciate at gatherings specifically, and this is not something you can get at local sessions as much, is where there are protectors. If you come to me at a gathering that I am at and you tell me that there's someone giving you weird vibes, I will do my best to handle that situation as best I can with the event organizers. Because the pros, the special guests at these events are going to be the ones that can really help hold people accountable. I think that that's what we need. We just need accountability, because that way there's no victims and we can start the discussion way before someone feels like a victim.
Yeah. Yeah, we gotta figure out a way to do that. I think that would be cool.
Yeah, and I think that as long as people feel like they can come to the tricking community and not be an outsider, that is a huge thing. Like, it is a big struggle for me with all athletes to get themselves to call themselves trickers.
What do you mean?
Just to the public, to people, to their parents, to their grandparents, to because the sport is so young and undefined, they'll lean back and say, I do martial arts with a little bit of gymnastics, you know? It's like, I feel like there's always that battle to define the sport.
Yeah, I just tell people I do like acrobatic martial arts. It's called tricking, martial arts tricking. I don't know. I have to say this whole spiel before like owning it. Yeah, and it's funny to think about, like, I still say it every time. And I've been in it for so long. But yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on here and for talking with me.
Of course, yeah. Thanks for having me.
I really think that everything US Tricking has done, and I think a blog hits different than a YouTube video. Like, a book hits different from a tutorial. These things, how you hear them, will be a big thing about how they're interpreted. And I'm so glad that you came on here, because I am not a woman. I cannot represent women well.
Yes.
But I can do what I can to talk to the women that I know who have done so much, and you really have done a lot, and I'm so thankful.
Thank you.
Yeah, but that's kind of all I got. Where can people follow you? Where can people find you? Like, yeah.
They can follow me on Instagram at silly Tricia, or follow at Euphoria Tricking. We do our girl stuff. But yeah, those are my two main places.
Yes. Well, thank you again. Seriously, give love to everybody in Connecticut
course.
for me.
Nice. Give love to everyone in the DMV
I will.
for me.
I will. It's been snowing here, and it's weird.
Oh gosh. Yeah, it started snowing today here too.
Well,
It just got sun. Just
like
now.
right this second.
But see how bright my face is. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I'll let you go on and live the rest of your life
course.
now. I really appreciate you taking the time out. Thank you so much.
Of course. All right. Have a good one.
Bye.